If you're renting in East Bay or even thinking about moving here, you have probably asked yourself this question: should I rent or should I buy? I'm Sunny Khata from Value Ventures Realty, and I get these questions all the time from clients, from friends, even in the casual conversation. And honestly, it's a very fair question because in this market, the numbers aren't small and the decision isn't simple. Let's start with what we already know. In most parts of the East Bay, a typical home is going around $1.2 million to $1.8 million, sometimes more, depending on the area. At the same time, if you're renting decent two-bedroom apartment, townhouse, you're probably paying somewhere between $3,000 to $4,000 a month. So on the surface, renting feels easier. No large down payments, no property tax, no maintenance. And for a lot of people, that flexibility matters. But the decision isn't just about what feels easier today. It's about what makes sense over time. Before we even get into the numbers, let me address something I see all the time. A lot of people aren't deciding between renting and buying. They're just stuck in between. They keep waiting for interest rate to drop, waiting for the prices to come down, waiting for the perfect market. And while they're waiting, life keeps moving, and so does the market. Now, I'm not saying you should rush into buying, but I'm saying trying to perfectly time the market is extremely difficult. Most of people who end up doing well in real estate didn't time it perfectly. They just got in when they were ready and stayed in long enough. Let's break this down in the practical way. If you're renting, let's say 2 to 3 bedroom condominium townhouses in East Bay, you're paying around $3,500 a month, which are around $42,000 a year. Now that's your cost of housing and it's straight expenses. Now compare that to buying. Let's say you purchase a condominium townhouse around $1.2 million and you put 20% down. You're financing around $960,000. At today's rate, your principal and interest payment is going to be somewhere around $6,300 a month. On the top of that, you have to pay the property tax, say around $1,200 a month, and insurance and the maintenance. And now realistically, you're in the range of $7,500 to $8,000 range monthly. So yes, owning is significantly more expensive on monthly basis, and this is exactly where people stop and decide renting is absolutely better. But this is where the comparison change. When you're renting, 100% of your payment is an expense. That money is gone. When you own, not all the payment disappears. A portion of it goes towards paying down your loan. In early years, it's not large portion, but it's still meaningful. You might be paying down somewhere in the range of $10,000 to $15,000 in principal in your first year. That's not a profit though, but it's equity. So over time, that portion increases, and that's one of the ways homeowners gradually build their wealth. Now let's talk about appreciation, because this is often misunderstood. Real estate does not go up every year. Market shifts. Some years are flat, some years go down, some years go up. But over long periods, especially in supply-constrained market like East Bay, home values have historically trended upward. The keyword is long-term. So instead of thinking, what will my house be worth next year? The better question is, what happens if I hold this for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years? That's where the appreciation starts to become meaningful. Let's talk when renting actually makes more sense. Now, let me say something that not every agent will tell you. There are situations where the renting is better decision. If you're planning to move out in next couple of years, buying may not make sense. If your income isn't stable, it may not make sense. If you're stretching too much financially just to buy, it probably doesn't make sense. And if you simply don't want the responsibility of owning a home, maintenance, repair, long-term commitment, renting is completely valid choice. This decision should fit your situation, not just what the market is doing. Let me give a very simple example to put this into perspective. Say someone rents a home for 5 years at around $3,500 per month. Over that 5 years period, they would spend roughly $210,000 in rent. And this is all expenses, and you don't get any tax benefit. Now compare that to someone who buys a home and keep it for the same 5 years. Yes, monthly payment may be higher, but during that same time, several important things are happening behind the scene. Number one is the portion of every payment is going towards reducing the loan balance. Number two, they're building the equity over that time instead of paying 100% towards housing expenses. Number three, they benefit from any appreciation in that market over those 5 years. They lock in their housing payments while rents may continue to rise. They may receive potential tax advantage depending on their situations. They have flexibility to refinance later if the rates improve. And they are creating a long-term asset instead of starting over at the end of each lease. And after 5 years, they may walk away with accumulated equity that can help them buy their next property or build wealth. But over a long period of time, this is where the difference between the renting and owning can really start to widen, especially in the market where the home values and the rents continue to rise. Now, if you are considering buying, there are a few mistakes I see people make that are worth calling out. The first is stretching too much just to get into the market. If the payment keeps you up at night, it's probably not the right move. Second is buying without a clear time horizon. Real estate works best when you give it time. If you think you might move in a year or two, you're taking unnecessary risk. And the third is focusing only on the price and not on the overall fit, such as location, lifestyle, long-term usability of the home. Those things matter just as much. So what actually makes sense? At the end of the day, this decision comes down to a few key questions. How long are you planning to stay? How stable is your financial situation? Are you comfortable with the monthly payment? And what are your long-term goals? If you're planning to stay in East Bay for 5 years or more and the numbers work comfortably for you, buying often starts to make more sense from long-term perspective. If not, renting may be the better options right now, and that's completely fine. So final thoughts. This isn't just financial decision. It's also about the stability, flexibility, and where you are in your life. There is no one-size-fits-all answer here. But if you understand the trade-offs clearly, you can make much more confident decision. If you're trying to figure out what makes sense for your specific situations, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to walk you through the numbers with you and give you a clear picture based on where you are today. And if you found this helpful, subscribe for more content like this. I put out regular videos covering the Tri-Valley and the East Bay real estate market updates, neighborhood breakdowns, and guides like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.